Welcome back to Ultimate S and S. So this morning went outside to do the chickens, and our rooster is finally crowing. So here's a little shot of that, guys. One of the buff Orpingtons had started crowing and was quite a bit louder than that guy, but he's just starting off today, so we're going to wait and see how that crow turns out. But yeah, that's the first time I ever really been around chickens as far as, with roosters and stuff crowing around. So this has been quite the experience. We did go out to the garden to do our watering today and noticed one of the melon plants had a nice big bloom on it. The sad thing about that is I don't see any male flowers opening up to actually pollinate that female flower. So that one's not going to be a melon, unfortunately, but it does mean it's fixing to start spreading. And I definitely want my plants to spread out and run with their vines. So here's a little clip of that, guys. All right, we are out here with our watermelons. And as you can see, we have a melon blossom. This is a female flower, the way you can tell, one, looking at the pistil. But if you come to the back, this long area, if this was to be pollinated, this would turn into a melon. Typically, your male flowers, which are going to be smaller ones like this, will open before these. Something's just out of whack, it opened a female before it was actually ready to spread. That can happen sometimes, but I just want to show you some of the differences here on these things. Yeah, so there's lots of progress being made out here. I noticed that got some radishes that are starting to grow in pretty nice. They're about the size of probably one of those large marbles you used to play with as kids, assuming that you actually were, in the age group that used marbles. So, but anyway, I think it's pretty interesting to be able to just walk through your gardens or walk around and check your projects and see that there's progress being made and things like that. And I did go out and look at the what is it called, the mealworm farm, and that seems to be doing very well. I did not have a camera on me at the time, and it's basically you just look down in there and you see bugs and larvae and stuff like that. So there's not a whole lot to show with that, but there are videos in a playlist if you want to look in there about having a mealworm farm. So look in the playlist, you're going to see chicken care, you're going to see something called Prepper's Corner. That's going to be videos like this that kind of all encompass some things. And then there's going to be specialty playlists in there as well, guys. It's going to show you how to care for chickens from like when you first get them in. With quail, it's going to show you how to hatch them out and stuff. I don't have any videos on hatching chickens, mainly because I've not hatched any chickens. I ordered mine from Hoover Farms, and they come out through the mail, and just pick them up at the post office, and they've been doing really well so far. We have now, let's see, we have butchered out 5 chickens now. So we had fried chicken last night, which was nice. So, and they are pretty good sized chickens. So feeding 2 people, we could typically, I quarter mine out, so I'm not having to make everything at once. But when it comes down to the thighs and stuff like that, these dual purpose birds, while they're not as large as some of the birds over in stores, there's plenty of meat there for 2 people on 1 bird. And we'll probably be eating on this chicken here for a couple days typically, mainly because we try to eat balanced. As far as if we have meat, we're trying to make sure that there's some vegetables and stuff like that. And something else that I started doing, instead of buying like loaves of bread over in the bread aisle at the store, I started going to the bakery over at Walmart, and you can get fresh baked bread, the whole loaf, for $1, and it tastes way better than anything you're going to get down the main aisles. So, and the thing I was getting tired about with the main aisle over there for the bread stuff is that usually the bread was kind of stale. I've had it where when you eat it, it almost tastes like the plastic smells and stuff like that. So once I start getting my millet and things like that going out here, that's going to take a little bit to get all that going, because the pack that I bought, only 5 seeds actually sprouted on that. So now I've got to bring those up to seed so I can actually have enough seeds to plant a small, garden with that. But that's just one of the things you got to deal with sometimes. you're going to have setbacks. I think that's one thing proven on here. And that's why I try to put so much content out here, guys, is to show you that you are going to have setbacks. You are going to try something and it's not going to work the way that you hoped it would. And that's where you have to step back, reassess, and figure out a new way to get it done. So if you're really wanting chickens, you're going to run into some setbacks for that. If it's your first time raising chickens or any kind of flock animal or bird, I've got some playlists, but we'll cover that right here a little bit. You want to make sure before you even pick up any birds, whether it's quail, chickens, whatever, there's so many different varieties out there. Make sure that you have a brood area, and make sure that you have brood heaters, or at least one of those big brooding lamps. If you use the big lamps that hang down, you have to make sure you keep those clean. Make sure that there's no dust and stuff on top, or you could start fires. But they have a lot of great heaters. I usually use a reptile pad, one of the little heating pads for reptiles, and throw that in there, and that usually works good for while they're younger. And being summer like it is now, I don't think you're going to need that much, especially down here, because it gets hot, and it gets real hot inside those sheds and stuff. But yeah, just a few little ideas for you. So right now I've not been doing a lot of breeding with the quail. I had went out and swapped males and things like that around, upgraded to some newer males instead of my other males that I had, just to keep the bloodlines kind of, going strong. And they are finally crowing out there. And for those who've never heard what it sounds like, we'll try to make a video of that when we go over some more of the breeding process stuff for quail here in the future. I'm going to be remaking a lot of the other videos now that I tend to have a little bit better idea of what the heck I'm doing. That way it's a little more instructional for everybody. But I hope everyone's having a great Sunday. I guess it's Sunday now. It might be Monday. Yeah, that's bad when you don't even remember what day it is. So that's one of the things is I am retired, so I lose track of the days and stuff. I do, if I have to get to appointments or something like that for something, I set that up in the phone. That way it alerts me, the day before, and then the morning before as well. But if it wasn't for that, I don't even keep an alarm clock plugged in at the house. So I've got one. It's just not plugged in. It just sits on the counter. So, but yeah, I guess that's kind of bad. But hey, if you're hating on it, it's because you're jealous of it. So, but anyway, I'm going to hop off here and try to get some more video content up for the quail and stuff like that over the next week, because chickens are pretty simple. I think that for me anyway, quail are going to be my primary focus, simply because of the fact that they don't eat as much food. They're going to be easier to keep fed, and think about it from this aspect. If when stuff gets bad, stuff gets worse. It's already bad, guys. Even if the feed stores are still open, but the prices are through the roof, and that's what we're going to be seeing here in the days ahead, is these increases of prices, mainly because of the fertilizer issues. We can get fertilizer, but the price of it is so expensive that most farmers are just not even going to bother growing like feed and certain things like that. And understand that the European Union over there right now, over in Europe and stuff, they are actually butchering out their flock animals because of the fact that they don't figure they're going to be able to get the feed. They're slaughtering out their animals because of it. So I expect to see a lot of that happening here in this country as well. I don't know. Most of your chickens can free range outside if you have the area for it. But then you have to be out there to make sure that there's no predators and stuff. So that's something I might look into later. I'm just kind of keeping an eye on this H5N1 bird flu, because I don't want my flock getting sick. But I'm not going to let my quail run around on the ground outside. Not a good thing to do in this area. We do have very large snakes. We have rattlesnakes. We have constricting snakes. And them quail, they cannot roost and things like that. If they're not in the air flying, they'll be on the ground. So I keep them up in a pen that is completely sealed, so no snakes, no predators can get to it. And they seem to do very well with that. It has a small hutch box for them to lay in, and the rest of it is screened, top, bottom, sides, all of it, so they can get enough air draft. And that's something you need to think about too for any type of a flock animal, is you don't want to put them in just a wooden building and leave them in there. You need to make sure that you have a run area. And I would recommend doing a fenced run, top, bottom, sides, everything, so nothing can get to them. So, but I am going to hop off here, guys. Y'all have a wonderful day.